A bit like Del Boy, I could be a millionaire next year. And that Del Boy character was like that, so we would laugh at him. But in America, that's what most people like. I could be a millionaire next year. A bit of luck, work hard, invent something, do something. And we don't have that in the UK. So you're talking to Americans, you've lived there for several years now. Trump has just won the election. Is there anything we can learn from America? What the Americans saying about the UK? Is there a Trump coming down the road in the UK? Can you see? Have you got any special insight by living in America and looking at the UK?
I think that the Americans are a lot more. It's less ingrained in a class society, and I think that is the key difference between the United States and the United Kingdom. Ricky Gervais was joked about it and said, if you're in America and someone's got a nice car and your neighbour's got a Porsche, people go, "Oh, I love that Porsche. Like, where did you get that from?" Like, they're happy for you because they think if they keep working hard, they'll get one. Whereas in England, you see a nice Porsche in your neighbour's driving, you think wanker, because you just think he's like a rich prick. Like, remember, Ricky Hatton used to say, "Oh, he drove his £2,000 car all over that was like ancient," because he didn't want to seem like he wasn't a man of the people anymore. I think that the Americans, we have ingrained in us a class society in the UK, and that's why we have that resentment for like the ruling classes. But and I think if we want to make progress, we have to get over that. We have to be as sort of like, and Americans are annoying in their own way. They're constantly chirpy and optimistic all the time, and Brits are cynical and sort of like grumble, and we expect the worst. We're pessimistic. But I think if we really want to succeed, we've got to embrace that, because the change comes when you get outsiders in. And like, for example, Obama wouldn't have happened in the UK. Like, our politicians are all posh. They all went to this. All prime ministers went to these posh schools. That's not like that out here. He was middle class, but he wasn't rich. Single parent. His mum raised him. It was like, I think the Americans have embraced doing things new and different. And if we want to make real change, we have to get like that. Like, I've joked about it and said maybe our best prime minister ever will be a bloke who had a TV show. Like, maybe it'll be someone who came out of nowhere, or a Farage who's always been viewed as being like a sort of outsider. Like, you've got to embrace the different, and I think that that's what the problem is in England. I think it's stuffy and old-fashioned, and we're not willing to do things the same. Boris Johnson, David Cameron, I mean, they're all in the same pictures, aren't they? At the same school. Eton. How many prime ministers went to Eton? We need to bin it. We need to get people into politics like yourself. Anyone who's just a normal person, and the general public need to embrace it. But the problem seems to be when we try and do it in the UK, maybe because we've stagnated to that point. Whenever you get a political outsider in the UK, they never get any votes. I think we've literally been spoon fed it for so long. I think we're resistant to change. Like, the Americans are dynamic and quirky and a bit weird, which, I mean, I'll all be able to say they are. They're different. They're fundamentally different, probably because all of the enthusiastic, chirpy go-getters all went to America to seek the fortune. And our ancestors were like, no, you're all right. I'll just stay here and be a cobbler. Like, it's part of their DNA. And I think we need some of that. We need some of that optimism. We need some of that chirpiness, and we need a willingness to embrace doing things completely differently instead of just going, let's get all of our prime ministers from Eton. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what we need to do.
It's very hard in this country to. I mean, I've worked with thousands of young people, mainly on the streets, kids who have been getting involved in low-level crime and antisocial behaviour. And it's very hard to instill that aspiration, because you're right, we don't value aspiration in this country. And because our country is slowly turned into a socialist state, everything's given to you. So that you're brought up realizing I don't have to work hard. I don't have to look after myself. I don't even have to look after my children. I don't even have to look after my parents when they're getting old. Give it all to the state. And we keep rejecting our personal responsibility. And you're right, I've met many Americans who come from nothing. And even though they come from nothing, even when they had nothing, they were still saying to themselves, everything's possible. A bit like Del Boy, I could be a millionaire next year. And that Del Boy character was like that. So we would laugh at him. But in America, that's what most people like. I could be a millionaire next year. A bit of luck, work hard, invent something, do something. And we don't have that in the UK. We're always waiting for someone to give us something, which is the state, or we're waiting for our masters to tell us what we can do and what we can't do. And we need to start rejecting our masters and we need to start fixing our own lives, taking charge of our own lives, and being captains of our own destiny. I don't want someone telling me what I can and can't do. I want to pursue my dream, and my dream may fail, but I'd rather fail at my dream than be some slave being told what I can do and what I can't do and just being fed off the state.
The man in the arena. You reminded me of old Teddy Roosevelt there with that speech. The man in the arena. The credit belongs to the man whose face can be marred, but at least he failed while daring greatly. That's exactly right. And as I said, I'm not slagging off my homeland at all. I'm a product of almost entirely of the UK. I didn't move out here till I was like 30.